Do it today.
We are live in Studio B with your day-to-day BYU Sports play-by-play. I am Spencer Linton, teamed up alongside Jerem Jordan. It is our pleasure to welcome in one of our favorites, former BYU football standout, Hans Olsen, who is also a big-time radio personality host in Salt Lake City. Yeah, shock is all around. Hey, Hans, you stole the show yesterday on social media in the BYU universe with a stunt that you'll never live down. You balanced a ladder that had a bike on top of it on your chin, and your son documented all of it, and now he's picking up, well, dog poop for the rest of the summer because he didn't think you could do it.
Darn right, man.
How did this all come about?
Well, number one, I'm never going to lose to my son. Number two, I did the math. I've got 2 dogs. They go about twice a day. So we've got 4 duties per day. We go about 100 days through summer. That's 400 duties. And I thought to myself, I'm not picking up all that. So how am I going to sucker my son into this? I actually sharked him a bit. I put the ladder up there and I was wobbly and I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I can still do it anymore. And he's like, oh shit, I told you were supposed to be better than this. I was like, hey, look, here's the deal. You want to get serious about this? I'll throw this bike on top of the ladder and I'll put it on my chin, but you're going to be doing doggy duty all summer long. He took the bet. I put the ladder up. I still got it, man. I still got it.
Still got it.
I am going to go for 2 bikes because now he's put on the line that he'll mow the lawn through the entire summer.
Wow.
And that might be worth it too.
Hold on. Shouldn't he be mowing the lawn during the entire summer as well? I'm just thinking back to my youth. My stepdad's like, hey, this is your thing. I was like, all right.
So that young man is very active in sports, wrestling camps, football camps.
I get it.
He's gone. So what is going to happen is he's going to do this at night. He's going to do camp so he's going to have double duty. It's going to be tough for him.
Do you wish David Letterman still had the Late Show? Because you could have totally been on that, right? Like, did you do this at BYU?
So ask Duff Tittle about this next time you talk to him. He was trying to get me on David Letterman's crazy people tricks or whatever.
Yeah, stupid human tricks.
ESPN, the magazine came in and they were like, so you got this guy that's kind of a weirdo? And Duff's like, yeah, he's a real weirdo. And they're like, how weird? And he's like, you could put a dog on top of a table and balance it on his chin. And there I was, the full spread in the middle of ESPN, the magazine, balancing a dog on top of a table on my chin. It was
that's awesome. That's amazing.
Hans Olsen, former BYU defensive and NFL defensive lineman, with us on BYU Sports Nation.
That's all we want to talk about. Thanks, Hans. Appreciate it, man.
He's got an incredible
Thanks for the time, guys.
He's got incredible amounts of talent. And a shout out to your son, Tommy Rock Olsen, as well, for recording all of that.
Social superstar.
Yes, and giving us this incredible topic on June 1st of 2022. Okay, Hans, in less important matters, we are looking at what Mel Kiper has revealed recently on ESPN and some ESPN Plus content, that he has 4 different BYU football players in their respective top 10s and positions going into next year's NFL draft, which has us thinking, okay, is BYU pacing for something that they've never done before? I mean, in the modern era, the most draft picks they've had in the single draft is 5. They tied that in 2020. Are we pacing for a record-breaking something in 2023?
We may tie the record. I think I've got 4 guys that if the draft were to happen tomorrow, I think that they would be drafted, and they'd probably be drafted pretty well, 4th, maybe 5th round for Clark Barrington. But I've got 4 guys that I really think would go tomorrow if the NFL draft were to happen. And then I've got a mix of 4 other guys that would be in the conversation. I don't think they've done quite enough right now. I think there's still too many questions on them to say that they would go right now. But I've got 4 guys I think would go tomorrow if the draft happened.
Name names.
All right, we'll start with Jaren Hall. I think that Jaren's done enough as a quarterback to impress the NFL scouts that he's a draftable quarterback. And there's a couple reasons for that. Number one, I think that he's more of a pocket threat than what most people give him credit for. Number two, he can still throw well on the move. So he doesn't have to move to hit with accuracy. He doesn't have to move to hit with depth. He can throw from the pocket, and that's what I think most NFL GMs really want. Now, you do want to have the ability to throw in the mix of a little bit of movement, and Jaron can give that to you. So Jaron still can prove a lot, and I think he can move up the board more, but I think he's a draftable quarterback right now. I think that BYU's got 2 draftable offensive linemen right now. Clark Barrington is probably a 5th or 6th round pick, but I think he would go. I think he's aggressive enough of a guard. I think he's durable. I think he's nasty. He's a grinder. He's really good in pass sets, great in double teams, fantastic on backside cuts and all those things. So love what Clark Barrington can do. I think that James Freeland is probably the most draftable athlete in the state of Utah.
Oh, yeah, Blake Freeland. He might be a top 15 pick.
Legit.
Well, so I do want to throw this out there because when I saw Blake Freeland's measurables coming in as a freshman and I saw his flexibility, his mobility, his movements, and then the fact that he was a quarterback now moving to offensive tackle, that is you never see that. Like, you never see an offensive tackle that has experienced what it's like to be hit on the blind side. And an offensive tackle that understands quarterback pocket movement. So if I'm getting a quick rush and I take my guy all the way deep, I know if I give him just this little extra shove that the quarterback can step in the pocket, make the throw. I have a really good understanding of what the quarterback needs in that pocket. So you've got something really unique. Plus, he's got gorilla length arms. I don't know. He's whatever his wingspan is, got to be close to 7 feet. And he's got that insane height. He's got great mobility and flexibility, and he's got really good strength. He could improve on his strength, and he could probably improve on a few areas, but I think that Blake Freeland is a big-time pick. And then the last one that I've got slotted is Puka Nacua. I think that Puka is primed and ready to have a breakout season, and I'm expecting that from him this year. I expect Puka to have a big year. Now, defenses are going to key on him, and they play some good defenses, so defenses are going to key on him, and that's why you've got to have a guy like Gunnar Romney who's keeping teams honest. And I expect that from Gunnar. I expect that from guys like Dallin Holker and other offensive threats that BYU is going to have to take some of the pressure off Puka so that Puka can have the season he should and needs to have. But I think that he's a draftable athlete with his speed. I think Sampson was just on the outside of the draft, just barely. I think Puka is going to be on the inside.
Hans Olsen of the Zone Sports Network in Salt Lake City. Fantastic radio host, former NFL and BYU football standouts with us on BYU Sports Nation. Okay, you referenced the 4 that you feel like would be drafted tomorrow. I'm looking at guys like Peyton Wilgar, maybe a Keenan Peely. I know Malik Moore is getting a little bit of additional interest. Isaac Rex is a guy that Mel Kiper really likes. Who are the guys that are just on the outside that could really make a name for themselves and push themselves into the draft?
Well, believe it or not, I think an offensive lineman, even like Joe Tukuwafu, is probably right there on the board on it. Did you guys know, like, everybody makes fun of Britton Covey for how long he played in college football? I believe that Joe Tukuwafu was a 2014 recruit. 2014.
Britton Covey's like, whoa!
Yeah. Britton's like, hey, talk about this guy. But if Joe can stay healthy, I know that his age is going to be a problem, but I actually think he's got the skill sets that make him a possible NFL offensive lineman. You know, we talked about Gunnar Romney. Gunnar Romney could get into the discussion. I love Max Tooley's aggressiveness. I just think that Max needs to improve on some of his responsibilities. You know, I think that I mentioned Dallin Holker. Dallin Holker is that new age type tight end that could be a possibility. You mentioned Keenan Peely. I think that Keenan Peely's injury history is going to be a problem, but I think that he could find his way through. Pepe Tonabasa is a guy that I've got a lot of respect for. You mentioned Peyton Wilgar. If Peyton Wilgar stays healthy and has himself a good season, he's certainly in that conversation. So you've got, you know, you've probably got 10 guys or so that are in that conversation as being draftable. But in reality, if it's more than 4, I'd be pretty shocked. But I expect 4.
Yeah, and listen, we're going to go back to this era. We're going to look at the 2018-19 season and say those were puppies. BYU went 7-6, 7-6. They were building for 11-1, 10-3. This year we think BYU could win 10 again. We're going to go back and go, oh my gosh, look at that group. It was incredible. Let's finish with this, and perhaps we've buried the lead here. Our question of the day, We put together 12 games. You got to keep 9, but you got to lose 3, some of the greatest wins in BYU history. What 3 are you losing from our list here?
Is the list currently up on the TV? I'm wondering if people can see the list, because
back to Harlan.
This is
Mangum Miracle, Miami, Miracle Bowl, 09 Utah, 09 Oklahoma, 84 Holiday Bowl, 97 Cotton, 21 Utah, 83 Missouri, 2019 Tennessee. What one game would you lose there then?
I'm gonna take 2019 Tennessee off. I'm gonna take. By the way, I'm not gonna remove anything Max Hall. So Oklahoma State, Max Hall, in my opinion, he's my favorite all-time BYU QB. He and Ty Detmer, favorite all-time BYU QBs. So not gonna touch either one of those games, but I'll take Tennessee off. I'm actually gonna take this last Utah game. 2021 Utah off. I know it was great to get off the slide, but I don't know if that's slotted as one of the all-times. And it's really tough to take the Tanner Mangum Miracle. That's the one in Nebraska.
Yeah.
It's really tough to take that one off, but man, I don't know if you can take that one off. I think it's too much of a legendary, iconic play. Where Mitch Matthews goes up and brings that ball down.
Yeah,
tough, right?
This one's tough, guys.
This is painful.
Not touching anything. 96, you know that. 97.
No way.
That 2001 is that Lavelle's last miracle? Is that the one I played?
That was 2000. That was a team that you obviously were involved in. It was Doman to Staley in 2001.
Down 11 with 6 minutes left, undefeated.
Yeah, take that one off. Yeah, take that
Keep
one off.
all the Utahs on. That's what I say. No, I get it with 21, as we mentioned. But
take that one off and put Lavelle's last miracle on. Still involve Luke Staley. Still involve Brandon Doman.
It was hard for us just to get this list. 212.
Yeah.
I mean, there have been some unbelievable wins in BYU history.
Now, Hans, we need to finish with this in the last 30 seconds of our conversation. We talked about the draft picks, the number of talented guys that BYU has. How do you think that will translate into wins in 2022? What are your expectations for BYU football in terms of wins in the upcoming season?
Well, I like to set them realistically for Kalani. I would hate if Kalani went on a radio station and somebody was like, what is the expectations for Hans? And he's like, oh, man, I think he's Sports Center's lead host. And, if Kalani set these crazy expectations, I'd call him. I'd be like, hey, calm it down, man. I'm never going to hit those numbers. I like to set them realistic. And I like to be fair to the team. I think that 8 is a very realistic number.
Yeah.
I think you beat South Florida in Tampa. I think you beat Wyoming. I think you beat Utah State and Liberty. I think you beat East Carolina. I think you beat Boise State, Utah Tech, and Stanford. I think you beat those teams. And then it's a toss-up amongst the other 4, Baylor, Oregon, Notre Dame, and Arkansas. I think Notre Dame and Arkansas are going to be almost impossible. I think those are 2 very tall tasks. I think you can get one between Baylor and Oregon. So a realistic number is 9 in the regular season. You throw in a bowl game, there's a very good possibility of 10 total through a season. So I expect 10 when everything's said and done. I expect 10, but I'm not going to throw a number of 10 out there for the regular season.
We're with you.
We're right there with you.
Yep.
We are in agreement. Okay, Hans, always fun to talk with you. We can't wait to see your next circus trick and what you're going to balance on your chin next. 2 bikes. Just make sure you're recording.
Hey, BYU fans, you guys are lucky to have these 2. Incredible men with incredible families. They do an incredible job. And the real genius behind these cameras, Ben Bagley, I'm telling you, man, BYU fans better say their prayers that he doesn't get taken by Sports Center. You guys are fantastic.
I'll Venmo you later.
Thank you, Hans. And another pie is on the way, my friend.
Get those triglycerides right.
You got it. Thanks, Hans.